Having witnessed the encounter with Amanda, kept a close eye on Finn and Maybeck as they headed toward the park entrance. She had a good understanding of the camera system by now, enabling her to guide the boys and check the area both in front and behind for any signs of overtakers. A family waited behind Amanda to use her animal cam. Among them was an obnoxious boy who heckled her. She wondered what would happen if she were forced to surrender her viewing station when the next person to use it realized they had access to every security camera in the park. Again, the boy raised his voice.
You don't own it, you know. Give it a rest.
The outburst won the attention of a cast member, who then headed toward her. Amanda quickly reset the viewing menu to match what was offered by the 3 other animal cam stations. But if the next user happened to scroll down, the little boy jeered at Amanda as he stepped up toward the station, which worked in his favor. His mother took away his privilege of using the animal cam, allowing Amanda to retake her place. She caught his reflection in the plexiglass that protected the animal cam's television monitor. She spun around sharply, getting a better look at the boy's arm. The boy snapped at her.
Take a picture. It'll last longer.
Your tattoo.
What about it?
May I?
She took a tentative step closer. The boy tried to step away and deny her, but his mother blocked him. Suddenly, Amanda's ally. Amanda reached into her back pocket and withdrew the photocopied page from Jez's diary. Amanda held the photocopy up to the light and peered through the paper to reverse the image. It was a match, a near-perfect sketch of the tattoo. A gorilla on crutches with a yellow bandage on his right foot. On the boy's arm, "Help Care for Wildlife" was written across the top and Disney's Animal Kingdom at the bottom, but Jez's version offered only the image, not the words. Amanda had mistaken the figure in the sketch for a man.
Where'd you get this?
Here.
The boy's mother was pointing toward the large windows at the far end of the area that looked in on a veterinarian suite and several laboratories where animals were housed or cared for.
They give them out if you take the private tour, the keepers.
This won an overwrought reaction from Amanda, who was thinking kingdom keepers.
The animal keepers.
Oh.
My husband is a consultant to Disney. They gave Preston and me a private tour earlier. Really incredible, if you can arrange it.
It was awesome!
At the end of the tour, the tattoo was one of the keepsakes they gave him.
Backstage.
Amanda mumbled, her mind whirling as she calculated how to get herself a private tour. Jez had been back there in her dreams. She felt certain of it. Then she reconsidered her situation. She had an Animal Kingdom cast member pass in her pocket. What was going to stop her from going back there? Inside the Animal Kingdom's main entrance, in the large central courtyard where park guests gathered, stood a talking recycling bin, a metal box standing about 4 feet high. It looked like a United States Postal Service box painted green. It was currently surrounded by several small boys and a pair of curious girls, amazed that when they asked a question, the box could answer them. Finn and Maybeck slowed and approached the recycling bin cautiously, not wanting to draw attention to themselves.
Find a newspaper.
What?
Split up. We've got to find something recyclable. The trash cans make the most sense.
You want to dumpster dive the trash cans for something recyclable?
Exactly. A newspaper, soda can, plastic water bottle, doesn't matter. I need an excuse to open the flap and put my hand inside. I hadn't figured on it being so popular.
"Feed me," the can was saying to the giggling children. "Do you recycle at home?" The kids were getting a kick out of talking can, their amused parents standing back and watching. The boys split up, and shortly thereafter, Maybeck returned with an empty water bottle.
Perfect.
He took hold of the bottle. Suddenly, the bin turned sharply toward Finn. The younger kids jumped back, followed by a volley of laughter.
"Feed me."
The can repeated, now aiming directly at Finn. Finn had no doubt that Wayne had arranged this somehow.
11 o'clock.
Finn carefully looked to his left and identified a casually dressed man wearing sunglasses and a pair of headphones. He carried what looked like a radio in his hands, but Finn recognized it as the remote control that was steering the box. This man was also listening and speaking through the moving box. His sunglasses prevented Finn from knowing where he was looking, but Finn believed the man was very much aware of the task at hand. Finn hoisted the water bottle.
Did you know that recycled water bottles are turned into park benches, picnic tables, and car parts?
I did not.
Are you gonna feed me or not?
"Feed it," one of the little kids said boldly. "Do it," chimed in another. Finn knew how to play this. He approached the box warily. The water bottle extended as an offering. He reached into the bin, then he lurched forward, as if the box were trying to swallow him. As the kids recoiled in a mixture of laughter and screams, Finn ran his hand along the roof of the box and bumped into something hard. He took hold of it and pulled. Some tape came loose, and he now had the remote in hand. He cupped in his fist, drew his arm back out of the bin dramatically, and gestured wildly, pocketing the device.
Yum, yum, more. I want more.
I'm afraid that's all.
The bin spun toward the other children, drawing their attention and making it easier for Finn to slip away. He glanced over at the man secretly controlling the bin and thought he saw a slight nod of acknowledgement. His DS beeped and he checked the chat room.
They're almost through the moving ice.
We're on our way. We did a little recycling.
Having handed over the remote control device, Charlene, who stood watch outside the bat enclosure, Finn and Maybeck rode a bus to the Animal Kingdom Lodge. Charlene would, once again, use her stilts and camouflage to approach the backstage area behind the enclosure. This time, she would circle around rather than enter the enclosure, avoiding the scrutiny of the park visitors. Once she established atop the wall near the two cages and the ice truck, she would notify Finn on the DS. The boys had to discover where the real Willa and Philby were being kept and be on hand to get them out of the hotel once they awakened. Charlene was to trigger the remote, canceling their DHI state. They entered the Animal Kingdom lobby and both boys gasped. Finn had never seen such a place. It felt as if he stepped into Africa itself. The vast floor and the columns were crafted from a dark, unusual wood. The lobby furniture was covered in brown and white animal skins. Giant chandeliers were made of spears, and shields hung from the ceiling. African music played, the rhythm enchanting. The bellhops wore brown safari outfits. The lobby stretched 200 feet or more, leading to stairs and giant windows that looked out on to an African savanna, where Finn would see two giant giraffes and several wildebeests. Upon seeing all this, Maybeck hissed a bad word. There were people everywhere. Some occupied the sumptuous furniture. Others milled about, heading this way or that. The clatter and hum of people eating and talking wafted up from a higher level to the right. A few people waited in line at the registration desk to the left, but all around there was a feeling of excitement and mystery as families and staff came and went. Into this walked two boys, one in a park worker's coveralls, the other in shorts and a t-shirt. No one paid them the slightest bit of attention.
We're invisible.
I hear you.
Finn rarely found a place inside Disney World where he was not self-conscious about being a DHI actor, where he didn't feel the weight of eyes trained on him, wondering if he was the Disney host from the Magic Kingdom. Yet here in this wondrous lobby of the Magnificent Lodge, he felt transported across the oceans to another continent, one far away from Minnie and Mickey and the person he had become.
Any ideas?
We can't exactly ask someone if they've seen a boy and a girl.
They had already walked past a few dozen boys and girls, most in the company of their parents, but not all.
No.
If I could get onto VMK, Wayne might be able to look up what rooms have been checked into in the past few hours. But there would be too many to count.
Yep.
Not much help.
Nope.
So, do you have any bright ideas?
The two boys past the small study like a private library on their left, and they continue down a long corridor of hotel rooms.
We can't exactly go knocking on every door.
You think? I was hoping for something more constructive.
I've got nothing.
I noticed.
We could divide and conquer. I could take the upstairs or the other side of the hotel.
The lodge was fashioned in a giant Y, with the lobby in the stem and the room stretching out into both wings of the V at the top of the stem. The V stuck out into a savanna, and the long corridors periodically offered viewing stations on either side, where all kinds of wildlife could be seen, from birds that stood 4 feet high to zebras and Thompson's gazelles.
We could stay in touch by the DS.
Finn stopped and grabbed Maybeck by the arm.
That's it!
Is it?
The DS's. When a DS gets a new message, it beeps.
So?
So, if we keep texting, and if one of us is near the door to their room when it beeps, then we'll hear it and know which room they're in.
Sweet, but what if they're being guarded? The guards would just turn off the DS.
They weren't guarding you that time at Space Mountain.
True.
Why guard someone who's asleep and can't wake up? Kind of a waste, don't you think? You'd put them on a bed, pull the drapes, put a do not disturb sign on the door, and leave them. Start sending messages while I find the rooms with the do not disturb signs.
If they're here, we're going to find them.
Finn pressed his ear to the door outside a room with a do not disturb tag on the handle. He found 3 doors so far. With his ear to the 4th such room, he heard a faint but familiar beep and knew it was a DS.
I found it.
A minute later, Maybeck came down the hallway toward him.
This is their room.
As Maybeck leaned his ear against the door, Finn sent the text. Maybeck smiled and pulled away from the door.
Bullseye.
You're a better liar than I am.
Is that supposed to be a compliment?
Charming. I meant to say you're more charming than I am. You're better with the ladies.
That goes without saying.
There's a room being cleaned back toward the elevator.
I passed it.
I think you left your family's park hoppers in this room, and your father's asleep in here with a headache. Which explains the do not disturb sign.
I think you're brilliant.
Goes without saying. Can you pull it off?
This is me we're talking about.
Same question.
You'll need to get yourself gone.
I'll hang at the next set of windows.
I'll text you once I'm inside.
Less than 5 minutes later, Finn received a text message. He returned to the room and knocked softly. Maybeck opened the door. The room held a big bed and a pair of bunks. Philby was drooling onto the pillow of the big bed. Willa slept peacefully on the lower bunk. They shook both kids, but to no avail. Permasleep. Sleeping Beauty syndrome.
The one thing I remember is how much I dreamed when they had me in this state. I dreamed of being locked up. I think I was dreaming what my DHI was seeing.
Don't get me tired, or we'll end up like them.
A nap wouldn't hurt. We could take turns. 10 minutes.
Do not go there.
I'm tired.
Finn sent Charlene a text message.
Ready when you are.
All set.
Both Maybeck and Finn heard the loud scratching sound at the same time. At first, Finn thought it was a radio or a TV in another room. Maybeck hurried over and cracked the curtains.
Apes!
He held up 2 fingers. 2 apes, Finn realized, out on the balcony. The sliding door squeaked as one of the apes pulled on the handle from the outside. Maybeck pointed to his own chest and then the closet. Seeing the signal, Finn hurried into the bathroom, stepped into the tub, and pulled the shower curtain. He heard the door swung open and the sounds of 2 apes moving around in the room. Were they looking for them? Had the maid told someone about letting Maybeck into the room? A message from Charlene appeared on Finn's screen.
I'm in position. We'll press remote in 3, 2, 1.
The bathroom door was flung open. Finn could hear one of the 2 orangutans breathing hard, and the room suddenly smelled different. He reached up and turned the shower head to face the curtains. His hand on the faucet. 4 hairy fingers appeared on the edge of the shower curtain. Finn felt as if he might pass out. The curtain was yanked open. Finn yanked the lever. Water roared into the face of an ugly orange ape. The ape slapped his own face, screamed, and jumped back. Finn leaped from the tub, pulled a terry cloth robe from the back of the bathroom door, and tossed it over the ape. He then used the bathrobe's belt to take a strong turn around the confused ape, pull it tight, and knotted it around the ape's legs. The orangutan fell over, kicking and thrashing and screaming, doing nothing but spinning in circles on the bathroom floor. The second ape appeared at the doorway. Finn lunged for the other bathrobe, but it drew closer to Finn lunged for the other bathrobe, but it drew him closer to the ape, whose big mouth came open, teeth bared. Just as Finn feared the ape would strike, Maybeck leaped out of the bedroom closet and poked it with a hanger that he wielded as a sword. This provoked the ape. It spun around to challenge Maybeck, giving Finn the extra seconds he needed to take hold of the robe and throw it over the orangutan. He and Maybeck made the quick work of tying up this one as well. They dragged it into the bathroom, and as they shut the door, both apes were seen whirling angrily on the tile floor. Finn shook Willa. Maybeck pulled on Philby's arm. Both groaned and squirmed uncomfortably. They were awakening. Charlene had used the remote on the DHIs in the cages, and it worked. The cages were now empty, the DHIs gone, zeroed out by the server. Maleficent and the Overtakers with her had to be terribly confused and angry. The orangutan screamed loudly from the bathroom. Maybeck looked over to Philby.
I know you feel like a zombie. I've been there, but we have to hurry. We gotta get you out of here.
Finn and Maybeck escorted Philby and Willa to the train platform for the Wildlife Express train. Amanda had announced the discovery and asked that they meet her. She'd been very secretive and they were eager to talk with her. Charlene was still keeping an eye on the bat enclosure. The ice truck had not been moved. The kids stood around watching Finn as he finally made the call to Rob. The kids stood around and watched Finn as he finally made the call to Rob Bernowski, Jez's boyfriend. He had the BlackBerry on speakerphone so that everyone could hear.
Rob?
Yeah? Who's this?
My name's Finn Whitman. I'm a friend of...
Jez's? Yeah, I know. She talks about you and the others all the time.
Too much of the time, his tone of voice implied.
Have you seen her by any chance? Heard from her?
No. Why?
Just curious.
What's up with that?
Just asking.
Because?
Yeah, well listen. I know this is going to sound stupid, but if there was one thing Jess could change about you, what would it be?
Is this some kind of a contest or something?
Finn hesitated. Willa was nodding violently.
Yeah, that's exactly it. A contest. A school thing. How well do boyfriends and girlfriends know each other?
One thing she would change.
Yes, that's the question.
There was a long hesitation on the other end of the call.
My clothes. She doesn't like my jeans, man. I wear them kind of low.
Your jeans?
Yeah, did I answer right?
I'll have to get back to you on that. That's all you can think of?
I'll tell you the one thing I'd change about her.
Rob volunteered, not giving Finn a chance to stop him.
I'd take her iPod away from her. She's like addicted to that thing. That and all the word games she plays. She's into scrambling every word she can. Making other words out of the same letters, you know?
Anagrams.
What's that?
It's what you call that. An anagram is a word that can be made from the letters of another word.
Never heard of it. So what about my prize? Do I win a prize?
We'll let you know. Thanks for your answers.
Finn ended the call.
Anagrams. You think it's worth a try?
Do we think what is worth a try?
Jez wrote, "Change Rob" in her diary.
And inside the tree stump.
Some kind of code?
Give me the BlackBerry.
I really don't think we should call him back.
I'm not calling anyone. The BlackBerry has internet. We can settle this pretty quickly.
Finn and the others leaned over Philby's shoulder as he used the BlackBerry to Google an anagram site. Then, reaching a site, he typed in "change Rob" and hit the button to generate anagrams. There, the small screen showed a long list of possible letter combinations.
Branch ego, corn bag, he... Herb can go.
Let me see that.
Willa moved in next to Philby to where their shoulders touched. No one missed how close she got to him, least of all Maybeck, who started suddenly shifting anxiously. Willa studied the screen and spoke in a quiet voice.
We've done this before. The clues from the Stonecutter's quill. Remember? We solved that anagram with that website.
That's because we didn't have a BlackBerry. There's nothing here.
There are no proper names.
So?
Willa took the BlackBerry out of Philby's hand and held it where she could study it clearly. Then she calmly returned the BlackBerry to Philby, who passed it back to Finn.
So I've got one.
She captured the full attention of the others. She meant this as a challenge. She remained incredibly close to Philby, and she was looking him directly in the eyes.
One word. A name. A Disney name.
I give up.
I don't. Wait.
A Disney name? But then that's gotta be it. What is it, Willa? Tell us what it is.
Give up?
Her comment was aimed toward Philby. There was something going on between these two, and Maybeck didn't like it.
No.
He gives up. We all give up.
Willa's eyes scrunched as if to convey her disappointment in Philby, but Philby didn't see her. His eyes were closed, his lips moving as if reading to himself.
Chernobog.
And I was about to give up on you.
The creature from Fantasia?
You ever see that movie? He's one mean dude.
And guess what? Chernobog's not only the most evil of all the Disney villains. He happens to be a demon with bat wings.
The kids went silent, the air suddenly shattered by the train's sharp whistle, announcing its arrival at the station.